Hello everyone, welcome back to Chen Design. Today I would like to show you in the Rhino 6 for jewelry CAD design how to have in this pattern along this onyx and for this Signet ring. Are you ready? Let's get started. If you're interested about how to make this Signet ring, a couple of videos here on the right top corner that will direct you to the video for make this Signet ring. But if you like to get the file of this ring and practice directly on it, you can actually sign up my newsletter, and that will leading you to a link that you can download this 3DM file for free and to practice. Okay, so that's starting with a cylinder right in the middle for the onyx. So I'm going to use a cylinder tool, snapping into the 0, and I want to disable to my all snap so it's not snapping anywhere, and you want to finding a good distance, and we want to create something like this here. All right, now I also would like to have this one sitting on the top roughly like this, and let me making a copy and hiding one of it. Then I'm going to use a Boolean Difference, pulling out this one out of the cylinder so we have a seat to sit on. I also would like to turn it back to that original one, and this is the one we need to manipulate it. It's a little bit too tall right now, so I'm going to use the 1D scale, and that's snapping into the quadrant here, and try to bring it down a little bit. You don't need to have it too tall. So now I wanted to creating the pattern. So basically the pattern is more like a triangle cutting into the shape. So I'm going to draw a straight line, and this line is snapping into the center. So let me make sure the center is marked, and I move my mouse close to the edge of that center, and holding the shift, want to draw something over here. So this is the line there. And the second thing I wanted to do is draw a triangle. So I'm coming over here with the Polygon tool, and I want to snapping into this endpoint and coming to the top. Now make sure the number of the side, we want to make it 3. And coming at the top, at the front view, and I'm going to draw something about this deep. Okay, I actually would like them to go a little bit wider, so maybe something like this. All right, so now let's use making the surface by using the sweep one rail. This got rail, this cross section, and we get something like this. Okay, in order to have it look more like a sun ray, this end need to be tapered. So that's using the gumball, holding the Control and Shift. Click on the edge of here, and here. Okay, so once we select that, let me enlarge this one. Once we select that, we want to holding the shift again and to scale this down like this. So it will be the narrow end there. So let's go ahead to use the command cap. And so that will cap on the both end. And we want to do a test cut first. So let's go ahead to using the Boolean Difference, and I want to cut this one out of this one. And let's see if we like the cut. I feel like I need to have the end is more narrow. So what I'm going to do is come back here. This time I actually want to select the surface and just scale it down a little bit more, something like this. Don't forget that since we scale it down, you also change the position. Maybe we want to bring this back, tilted it back, so it's not cutting that much inside. We want to select this one, moving up just a little bit like this. Okay, so let's double make sure it look nice by using the Boolean Difference, this cylinder out of this one. Okay, so now it look more decent. Okay, so before I do anything else, I actually want to fillet the edges on this one, and I want to fillet edges to be something smaller, maybe 0.5. Let's take a look what it look like. All right, that might be too much, maybe 0.35 on this one. Okay, all right. Now we need to make the pattern for this like sun ray looking things. So I'm going to pick up this one and coming into the polar array, and I'm going to hit on 0. And how many do I need? I don't know, but I need to go with the even number. So let me try 16 and see how that works. Actually, it worked pretty well. The distance in between the positive and negative space is really close. So I also want to record a history, and let's click OK there. I may have the problem because all the seam is connected there, but we can give it a try and see how that works. So let's go ahead to do the Boolean Difference, this one, out of all the pattern that we have here. Okay, so we do have a Boolean issue. I will suggest to move this one up just a little bit, so then it's not completely lined up over there. Maybe up even a little bit more there. Okay, so let's do the Boolean Difference one more time. So we are going to click on this one. It will be difference out from all the shape there. It say break the history, but that's okay. And let's take a look on the render view and see how they look like. All right, it's pretty good. Now, if you take a look on the render, you're going to notice this piece, that white piece, it felt like it's a stick in there, right? So the render view doesn't look good. It doesn't represent two different materials. So what I like to do is giving a fillet edges on this one. So let me turn this into the red color. You can see that's two different material, right? So we want to use the fillet edges. You don't need to have something too big. Let's try 0.15 at this this edges and let it try. So you see we have a tiny fillet edges there, and let's take a look on the render again. See, this is going to make your material separated. So this and this could be the different material. In the render, it will look more realistic. Keep in mind that anything has a tiny radius will catch the light, and that shiny light is going to make your rendering look more realistic. All right. Okay. So then we have that in place. Now we need to make the star on the top, right? So I'm going to coming over here. I'm just gonna hiding those two, so then I can work on the star, right? So the way to work on the star, let me hiding this one as well. I'm going to draw a line, and this line is roughly, it's go from the middle and roughly go like this way. And that will be the longest of my star. I'm going to draw a triangle, and this triangle is going to snapping into the 0, coming into the top, and depends on how tall you want this piece to be. Roughly, I want something like this, but I want to set it on top of the line. So I'm going to use the align to the bottom tool, just type it 0, so that will sit in there. Let me delete the rest of the line so it's not confusing you. This is the line that we wanted to have. Okay, now depends on how tall you want. Currently this one is over 2 millimeters. It's a little bit too tall for me, and I actually like it to be wider, and so maybe just move it down this point, something like this. All right. And then if you try to do sweep one rail, you're going to notice that you cannot coming into the point. For the star, we wanted to have the point, you know, like pointing on both sides. So what I like to do is actually draw the line snapping from the endpoint here, and endpoint there. Again, from endpoint, and the endpoint there. Okay, so instead of using the sweep 1 rail, I like to use a sweep 2. This is rail 1, this is rail 2, and we are going to the point through the middle cross section and going to the point one more time, and then that's how we get this one completely solid. All right, now we have this one. Double make sure if that is working. So I'm going to turn on my ring. And then to bring this one, the poly surface we just made, and put it on top of this one. So it was sitting inside, and then you're going to see it's cutting. Let me show you in the render view. You see this is kind of having this kind of follow the surface. It doesn't look quite good, but don't worry, we're gonna change it later. You just need to make sure that this is the right height for you. So we won't have something like that. Okay, so let me hide it back to those two. We also need to make sure that it's not going to hurt anybody. Again, we are making the jewelry, not a weapon, even though sometimes jewelry used as a weapon. Okay, and I would like to give it fillet edges. So let's go ahead to using the fillet edges, and then we want to select everybody. Okay, so the fillet edge is not working. I guess this is coming into the point too much. So two ways you can do it. First, you want to fillet the bottom first. And then be careful, sometimes you are just having a point over there. So this is something you need to be careful. And then you can fillet the top with the same or smaller, and that should work. After that, we'll come back to fix this one. So that's one way to do it. You can still keeping the shape is pretty well. The other things that we can do it is we want to come back to this original shape here. So the reason we wanted to do that is that we know that later on we might need to fit it. The fillet might have the problem. So we actually want to fit it on the curve. So let's do the fillet for point 2 over here. On this point and that point. Oops. On this point and that point. And then we want to join it. We want to split this one into 2. So you got this one and this one. You want to join together, and this one you want to join together. We want to come over here for this one that's split into 2 as well with the point and there. So again, we want to join this, and we also want to join this one and this one. Okay, so now we got 2 rail, and the cross section that we have, we can actually fix it, the sharp corner too. So we want to go for the fillet corners, and we want to do 0.15 on this. Okay. You may also want to fillet the corner since we are doing that. So let's go ahead to fillet the corner for 0.2 here and 0.2 there. So it's rounded over here at this spot. Okay, then what we can do is we want to use the sweep to rail. You go rail 1, rail 2, and you go from the point to this one and to back to the point there. All right, and you want to make sure that align properly. So then we'll get this one without additional work that we need to work on for fillet, and you want to make sure that it's a close surface. So once we have that, I'm going to delete this one on the top, this one on the top, and then we are going to have this one to move it up there. All right, let's turn it back to the ring that we have, so we know the right position there. So if this is how low you want it to sit, we will need to cut this open, but at this point, let's go ahead, just move it at where you want finally to sit in there first. Okay, so that looked good for me. Let me turn in other colors so it's easier for you to separate what and what. All right, so I'm gonna hiding those 2 back again, and we are going to go to the top view using the gumball and to making a copy there. So we have this one over here, try to Boolean union. And if you have a Boolean issue, I have a few other videos to talk about why Boolean failed. Pretty much is because the seam is overlapping on this one. So on this one, I actually just wanted to make it a little bit shorter. And let's go ahead to Boolean this guy. All right, so then you will have no problem with this. And then after that, I might want to making a copy, and we want to rotate 45 degrees on this one and make them a little bit smaller. And I'm going to move this one down close to the bottom. So then I will have this guy over here for me to Boolean union. So we'll have this pattern. Okay, now we have this pattern, and let me kind of hiding things behind it. Now we have this pattern, we need to have this as a cutout as well. So I'm going to use the command, it's called MeshOutline. And then we want to click on that, and all of a sudden we get this outline right there on the bottom. Follow the shape of that. So let's go ahead to join it if it's not joined. Okay, so then once we have this line, I'm going to move this just somewhere really close to the bottom, or I can simply just using the align tool to align from the to the bottom right there. Okay, so now I have this one. I'm going to use that as a cutter, so we are going to use that to extrude it straight, and only need to do extrude it one side there, and we are going to turn it back to the ring that we have. Okay, without this one, you're going to notice that your ring is sitting there, the cross is, the edge is gone, so it doesn't look nice over there. So what I like to do is I'm going to use that one. I'm doing the Boolean Difference, this sunlight straight will be cut it out from the shape of the extrusion there. I try to Boolean different this one out of this one, and it's not working. And most of the time, if it is not working, it will give you a mark over there, so you know what is not working. This guy is a poly, closed solid poly surface, and this guy is a it's the same. So what is actually wrong? And I don't have all the seam overlapping, so I think this is a great opportunity to talk about this. Let's take a look on the original curve that we have over here. Now take a look on this curve. If I zoom in so much in here, you kind of notice all the line is not a continual line. It's more like a straight line together. It's because when we extract this line, we're using the mesh outline. So it will follow it. It's more like a step. If you see what I mean here, is kind of a straight line to complete this curve, right? A lot of a short straight line. So let's use the command rebuild, and let's take a look on this one. Notice that it is degree 1. That might be the problem. So I want to keep the same point and keep it to degree 3. Nothing else changing, just changing the degree over here. And I want to click OK. All right, so now if you zoom in to look at this curve, notice that the curve is much smoother. Okay, let's see if that fixes our problem. I'm going to pick up this one, and I'm going to use that one to extrude it. So we're gonna extrude it straight, only one direction. We're gonna call it back to our second shape. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing, Boolean Difference, and we are going to difference this, not you, out of this guy. Now it's working. All right, so that is the problem for the degree, and that was an easy fix. But now you can also see it's much easier. I can see the shape over there, and then you can print them separately if you want to. Just need to have a hole and pack that fit together. I'm also going to print this one as one piece for you to see what is the result look like and on my printer. Okay, so some of you been asking me how I sprue my piece for 3D printing and casting. This is what I usually do. I'll put the cylinder right in the middle, and then for whatever size that close to bottom of your ring shank, and you want to move it to the bottom of the ring shank, you don't need it to be like too thick. And I'm just gonna get this wider, right? This is the part I'm going to use as a sprue. At the same time, it is the printing that's going to hold on the base. That way I don't need to have too many tiny support, because when you remove a support, I can kind of give you some of the mark on the ring, and which I don't like. If it is hollow, I will putting the sprue on those both sides. But if it is just a solid piece, I might want to put one, and it's about 1 millimeter in the diameter, so 0.25, and I want to make another cylinder, and it goes something like this. And this is helping to for the support to hold on them a little bit better. And maybe I want to make a copy over here, making a copy over here like this, going down a little bit, and having that to mirror to the other side. In some cases, if it's too heavy on the head, you will need to tilt it. If that is the case, you might need to have a side support. But this is what I do on my model. And if I need additional support, I will do it on the slides. So let me go ahead to Boolean all of this into one piece. So I will export and pick up this object. And before you do, make sure it is completely and before you export it, make sure it's a closed solid poly surface. And if it's not showing closed solid poly surface, you got the naked edges, you have to fix it. Okay, so I'm going to export, select, and then we want to save a STL file. And this is a Signet ring. So next I'm going to open the file and bring this into the G2 box. Okay, so I'm using the frozen printer, and this is the G2 box. Is a free software there. What you can do, so I don't need to make it even higher, so I just need to have a base over there. And you can take a look on this area. Anything marking red, that possibly it's going to have chance you don't have enough support, so you can kind of manually edit up some pieces here, some pieces here, here, and here. At the bottom I will edit a little bit heavy, but somewhere in the top I wanted to make sure that they are not too many of them, because you might need to fix it, a lot of them. So it's kind of a median instead of like heavy pieces. So I'm gonna have another one, maybe one more here. All right, so that will be my support, and we're gonna print this out and see how it goes. The printing result is pretty good. I'm using Frozen Shuffle 4K with the green resin from Frozen brand. If you wanted to know my setting, I have a video showing you the detailed setting, and I will put the link on the right top corner. After measure 3 spots on my print compared to the original one, it's actually pretty close. It's only 0.05 difference on my print. So this is my model and setting and the print for this ring. I hope you enjoyed the video. A lot more tricks and tips can be found at the membership program. I hope to see you there. Thank you for watching. See you next.